In part 1 of my video, I have described how physics explain the luminous phenomena of fireworks. Triggered by the heat of the explosions, the atoms do quantum leaps and emit light quantums with it. These light quantums bring forth our experience of the magical light show in the night sky open. This graphic was developed and explained explicitly in the first part of my video. This so-called quantum model shows that materia is not a solid thing, but an ongoing process during which every atom appears with a big bang out of the not being and leaps back immediately trillion times per second to that not being, the immeasurable potential of the universe. Looking at materia that way, atoms don't have any solid existence, but only exist in a repetitive process from being an atom to the not being. The propulsion for this process has two phases: the input of energy while leaping up and the relaxing while leaping down. This process has been described by the physicist Professor Dr. Dürr as lively and creative. It is lively because of the ups and downs of the leaps, and creative in the sense that the light quantums are produced and released during the phase of relaxing. These ups and downs are depicted in the graphic as yellow and red arrows. They represent liveliness, are the engine, so to speak, the core part, the heart of the whole process. Having made this little trip into the material world, the world of the atoms, I will now carry on to the experience of the fireworks. As soon as the fireworks start, bursts of light quantums are emitted. The light quantums come from the material world of the atoms and hit the material world of my retina. The light quantums produce electrical impulses which are transmitted to the brain. These electrical impulses create an animated state in the brain, and at the same time the experience of a light flash pops up. The animated cells of the brain are part of the material world. The experience of the light flash is part of my experienced world. The animation for the light flash comes from the material world. The experienced light flash is an answer to that animation. In this graphic, I have depicted this reaction as a leap upwards. From this energy level E2, the leap then goes back to the resting state. While leaping back, the light flash appears as experience. Now I will look closer into it. Look what happens during the leap. The leap starts with the resting state E1, the experience of open space, and ends up at the animated state E2 and the experience of light flash. Now the question is about the in-between. What state is there between E1 and E2 when our experience of open sky is gone and the light flash has not appeared yet? There is neither an experience of space nor an experience of light flash. There it is again, this no man's land, which I had described in connection with the leap of the boron atom in part 1 of this video, the not being. During the leap there is no man's land, not being, and therefore the leap goes to the not being first, and from there in a fresh leap to the new being, the animated state E2. While leaping back from there to the not being, the experience of a light flash appears. What is this not being, this no man's land, this being in between? Is there anything we can say about it? In part 1 of my video I had stated that this not being is not a mere nothing, but more like an immeasurable great potential of energy. In case of the boron atom, it could be related to the so-called vacuum energy. In connection with our experience, we could call it energy of life and name it Qi. The not being seemed to have the qualities of the vacuum energy as well as the qualities of Qi, because the light quantums from the atoms and the experienced light flashes appear both out of that not being. Looking at the steps separately, we see that experience is a process. This process starts from the not manifested, the not being, and brings about the experience of open space as well as the experience of light flashes. We can see the ups and downs of the leaps to be like an engine, the living core part, the heart of the whole process. The upward leaps are connected with sudden pushes of energy, which come into play spontaneously and continually. The phases are pictured in the graphic as yellow arrows. The energy bursts out just so, without any hesitation. Therefore, we could describe those leaps as being confident. The leaps back are connected with relaxation and creativity, are creative in a sense that the light flashes are created and experienced in that phase of relaxation. It is a continuous act of giving, generous without getting anything in return. Therefore, we could see this act of giving as being loving. The ups are confident, the downs are loving. Confident and loving are the main qualities which we associate with the human heart. Therefore, we can name this lively, confident and loving connection to the not being as heart connection. In this heart connection, tension and relaxation are coordinated in an intelligent and precise way, like in archery. While the arrows of our experience fly, while we experience clarity, liveliness, openness, and uniqueness, the bow relaxes simultaneously. All leaps follow each other quickly. They are single events in a high-speed sequence. Our mind looks at those single events from a kind of bird's eye view and makes some smooth version out of it. It works similar to a movie projector by which a moving image can be experienced out of many single shots. From a white leap, openness appears. From a green leap, uniqueness. All leaps can only happen in a process including the heart connection and the not being. Therefore, in all leaps, the liveliness of the heart connection and the clarity of the not being are present as well as the openness and uniqueness. The presence of those qualities is totally independent of whether we experience them or not. We can experience those qualities, but only because they had appeared without conditions already. This unconditional presence must be there first, and this is the reason that we can experience them at all. The colored part of the graphic stands for clear, lively, open, and unique experience. This experience is called now. The gray pictured leaps stand for moments which had passed already. They are like gray leftovers of lively leaps, left behind petrified copies of now. When we erroneously mistake those grey copies for reality, our experience cannot be clear, lively, open, and unique. What we experience then instead is called samsara in Buddhism. Our experience depends on which way we look, where we direct our mindfulness. When we look to the ever-freshly beginning of the process, into the now, the original, then we have the opportunity to experience clarity, liveliness, openness, and uniqueness in the fullest way. But when we stay with our mindfulness on the petrified copies, then we will experience samsara, which is the experience of suffering. It's up to us.